Happy Wednesday, or if you're listening to this on Spotify at a later date, happy Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, whatever you want. First and foremost, I want to apologize. We did not have a show last week. If you've been following my TikTok or social media, then you know that my back completely went out. We are on day 18. We are icing the smurf out of it every single day. I've just been cleared to do light stretches and exercises, but unfortunately, the pain was just too bad last week. I had Jenna scheduled and we had to reschedule for today. So on that note, just like everything in life, sometimes things happen outside of our control. So we have to learn to adapt and move forward, and we're pressing on today. And so I am so excited to have Jenna on the show today. And the reason I'm really excited, and you guys are going to be able to listen, Jenna's unique because she hasn't had the surgery yet. She hasn't joined the loser's bench. She's not my sleeve sister yet, but she is my sleeve sister in training. And one of the things that we wanted to do on this show is talk to somebody who's going through the process of having the surgery. And as long as we don't scare her off, we want to be able to have her come back on multiple occasions and give us updates on what she's been up to and watch her amazing progress in real time, so that we can join the journey with her. So those of you who are watching today, I hope that you send your comments, ask her some questions, give us your feedback, and more importantly, start getting her pumped and ready to go. Let's give her words of encouragement and be her biggest cheerleader. So Jenna, I hope you're ready because we're about to get unzipped. We all have a story on how we got here, right? So for me, I used to be over 350 pounds. Until one day, I made the single decision that I wanted change. Weight loss surgery has saved my life, and now I am here for you. I want to hear your story.
You know, the one that happened during that before and after picture? It's time to unzip. What's your story?
Hello, beautiful.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
I'm so glad that you were available today. I felt so bad that we literally had to cancel, I think, last minute last week. I was just a complete and utter shit show. We are still a shit show, but we are moving forward together. Emily's already saying hi.
Hi.
Can you
I'm
see
glad you're feeling better. I mean, yes, I was a little disappointed, obviously, because I wanted to do this, but two, because I, spastically cleaned my room so that it would be presentable.
presentable?
And then you're like, I really don't feel good. I was like, oh, see, this is why, you do things. I'm like ADHD people when you call and be like, I'll be there in 15 minutes. And then nobody shows up and like, oh, but I cleaned.
No, isn't that so funny? Like, I feel like we do our deepest cleaning when somebody is coming over unannounced, and you're like, "Shit, I got 20 minutes to clean this whole place up." So you know what? You're welcome because you straightened up, you cleared the clutter out, you felt really good, everything's good, and then I'm sorry that I'm canceled,
That's all
but
right.
I'm so glad that you're here today.
Thank you.
So those of you who don't know Jenna's story, that's what we're here to learn about today. So Jenna, you have not had the surgery yet. You're currently going through the process.
Yes.
Okay. So why don't you tell the folks at home or are listening a little bit about your origin story and how we got to today?
Okay, so I've always been kind of a larger person. Like I'm 5'10", I'm bigger frame. I've always had some weight on me from when I was started going through puberty basically. Like I was just a tall big kid before that. But once I hit puberty, I really started putting on weight and forming all these womanly curves, as you would say. And I never really paid attention to eating healthy and etc. So it just got out of control. I did end up losing the weight in a very unhealthy way via drug use for a few years when I was like 17 to 24. But after that, it just came back. So yeah, I was skinny, but it was artificial. That didn't really work,
Yeah.
But I came back to the same body type that I am today after that. And I had lost the weight again after my divorce. I did exercise and diet, but I didn't do it in like a healthy sustainable way. I didn't know the things that I've learned now going through this process, and just that process as well, but not really applying them appropriately, kind of thing. Um, but so I gained the weight back. I moved to Florida and I ended up gaining the weight back again. I haven't been able to really maintain a weight loss in a healthy way at all my entire life,
Okay.
basically. So I've always wanted to get the surgery. I've actually, my best friend's mom, when we were like 16 or so, she had bypass
Okay.
and she's doing great. And that was 20 years ago. 22. I just turned 38. 22 years ago. So I had that experience of watching her go through it and the success that she's had from it. And when I moved to Florida, one of my friends that I met here in Florida, she had the sleeve done, and her now husband that she met had the sleeve done. So I have it like around me and I've known it. And my ex-mother-in-law has the sleeve done. And so I've seen it be really helpful and help people
Mhm.
succeed in their healthy lifestyles and keeping weight off. So I've
Right.
always wanted it, and I've tried to get it done before, like looking into it with insurance and stuff, because living in America, it's like extremely expensive to get any medical procedures done without it being covered by insurance. So that, like, me being in my financial class that I'm in, cannot afford to just go and drop $28,000 on a surgery, without having something covered. So I would check for probably the last 10 years, I'd say. I
Really?
was checking with every job change, or if my job changed insurance for
Mhm.
something, when they renew policies and get different policies, every insurance, like the day that it was active, I was checking my benefits. And I work in insurance, like in I work in for doctors' offices, practices in the insurance field. So like I have all the logins. So I would literally go in there and check my own benefits and be like, is it covered every single time? And then disappointed every single time. So I ended up getting a new job in May of this year. And same story. I was like, I'm going to check those benefits immediately. So on July 1st, I was checking those benefits. It was like a Saturday. And I cried and was shaking. And I was like, looking at they have bariatric benefits, what's covered, what I have to do, so on and so forth. I was just like ecstatic. And I was like, can this be real? I don't think this is real. There's no way, pinch me. So I'm like, of course, being the I don't trust issue girl that I am, I'm like, something's got to be wrong with this. I'm gonna call. So
Right.
Monday, I called them and I was like, and I know the whole spiel again. 'Cause I work in insurance, like I gotta get a reference number. I gotta know who I talked to. I gotta ask all these questions. I know. And I'm like taking notes. I'm like, what do I gotta do? Like, do you require this? Because I've done a lot of research, so I know like some programs you have to do for like 3 months or 6 months.
Right.
That. And I know that like at the end of the year we have open enrollment. So what if my insurance changes? So I like want to know all of these things. I'm like paranoid. Like this has to happen. And I found out that it's all covered. I don't have to have like a
Wow.
6 month program. It's really just up to medical necessity. And so literally the next day I was calling a bariatric surgeon. Well, did research. I think maybe
Of course.
it was probably by the end of the week. I was calling for the surgeon office that I wanted to go to, and set up my first appointment on July 25th. And I will remember July 25th for the rest of my life because it was the day that the dream started.
Okay, and you know what? I'm such a firm believer, and I'm going to start training you like crazy before your surgery. I am a master of visualizing and manifesting the desired results that you want. And I love that even though it took you 10 years, like you didn't give up. You kept visualizing. And like every job, I'm like, okay, is it going to be on there? Is it going to be? And like, it's almost like you can physically visualize and see the words bariatric surgery on like the summary benefits or whatever. And the fact that that happened, I know how exciting that feels. And I'm curious. So with the insurance that you have and the program that you chose, did you have to do a 6 month?
No, so my insurance doesn't require like X amount of time to do it. So I have the requirement, because I took notes right here. I asked them like, what all do I have to do? And per Angela, prior authorization is required. So that's a given, right? I have they're saying that I have to do certain things, like I do have to do the nutritional counseling with the nutritionist. I do have to have like a 5-year weight history. This is my insurance requirements, right?
Right.
So a 5-year history of my BMI, a history of like failed diets, medicines, things like that. Um, Medical treatment that I tried and failed, including diet, exercise, psychological evaluation, and then they want like the name of the facility and the doctor and all that kind of
Of
stuff.
course.
So really, what they require is very minimal, right? The worst thing that I was worried about was that 5-year history. I'm like, oh my god, like I don't go to the doctors every year. Do I have 5-year history? I moved from California. I'm like, eh. So of course, then that was another like anxiety check of I better make sure that I can get that. Which side
No,
note
it's
to that.
frustrating, especially so when I found out that my insurance covered it,
Hmm.
and I made the first consultation with some facility near me, and I was so nervous about even considering it. I was still on the fence, and then after the presentation, I'm like, I think I want this. Like I think I can rectify it in my head. And then it's time for them to check the insurance, and they go, oh, the doctor is covered under your plan, but the hospital that he does it in is not. And you're like, oh, well, what the hell? So then you go, and so
That's
then
so weird, right?
I know, but this is also 8 years ago.
Oh, yeah, that might have been a little different back then
And
then.
this is like when Covered California or Obamacare was just coming out. And so a lot of the insurance companies were struggling with how they were going to cover things. And then I would finally, so I was like, okay, I'm going to look for a facility that's covered. So then I find the facility that's covered, but the doctor that performs it there is not covered under my insurance. And I'm like,
So crazy.
so I love like the persistence that you had in going after what you wanted, because this is something I never even thought I was ever going to do. But once I made the decision, yeah, I'm going to do this. Now I'm freaking stubborn. And it took me 3 months of calling insurance companies every single day to find out if I can find the hospital and the doctor
Like
that
that magic marriage.
yeah, just like this perfect blend. And for 3 months, it was strikeout after strikeout. And
That's frustrating.
finally, I got a hold of this woman in the insurance company, and she said there was only 4 doctors in all of Southern California that were both covered. 3 of them were like 2 hours away
My
minimum,
lord.
and one of them was like 25 minutes from my house. And I'm like,
Sold.
done. Sign me up. And it's just like further proof that like it was something that I wanted, and I kept, now I was visualizing on it, I was manifesting it, I was so fixated. And once you're told that you can't do something, okay, then I get pissed off. I'm like, well, now I just need to prove you wrong for the sake of proving you wrong. um so oh, good morning, Kez lives in Australia, so
Oh,
it might be
I
evening.
should come and visit you. My dream is to go to Fiji and Australia and New Zealand someday. I have so many goals now. Like I have a newfound rejuvenation for life. I'm no longer just this like this is how my life is going to be forever type attitude. I'm like, "Oh my god, it's about to change and I can do all of the things that I want to do." Like you have no idea.
I'm so excited because for you, like you're already in the right mindset. And that's one of the reasons why I love talking to you and I wanted you to come on the show, is because when I was doing this, I didn't know enough about it. And I had never had surgery. I've never had anesthesia. So I was an utter complete shit show leading up to it. But I had
Oh,
made like this
really?
vision board, and I started like putting all these pictures, kind of like what you're saying, all these things that I never been able to do before. I didn't know if I was ever going to be able to do it, but I said, you know what, let's just put it on there. And I would stare at it every day, and I started visualizing or picturing myself, what would it feel like to be in a 2-piece, or what would it feel like to fit in an airline seat and not have it dig into your thighs.
Mhm.
And by the time that the morning of surgery, I was like 80% excited, and I was like, let's freaking do this. And only 20% like the normal
That's
nerves.
saying a lot, especially for never having surgery or being under general anesthesia. Like
Yeah.
that's quite a thing to overcome, Sherry. That's amazing.
Stop. Okay.
Just
But no, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm so excited for you, is because you're already like starting on the right foot. Like you're already preparing your mental state for like all of the positive benefits that I think that's why I'm so excited that we're going to be able to follow your journey and go through like the different stages with you, because I already see the end result for you and I'm freaking
love that.
excited. Like I can see it.
I still have the little devil in your mind saying, what if this happens? What if that happens? Worry about things, but I try to shut them down, because like I don't want to go on worrying about something that hasn't even taken place. I'm trying really hard in my life, not just with this, but just in general, to not place energy in worrying about things. Try to be more present in the now, right? So I don't
Yes.
want to think like, what if I have this complication or that complication or this happens or that happens? Because what if nothing goes wrong and then I just wasted all this time
Mhm.
worrying about these things and nothing happens? Now, yeah, I want to know that there's possibility. I want to know what the possibilities of complications
Right.
are so that I could be prepared to handle them should they arise. But I definitely don't want to worry about them. That's for sure.
No, and that's one thing I really try to press with people, even not just with the surgery, but just in life, people who are stressed about jobs or relationships or the potential outcomes of stuff. I'm like, why are we stressing over something that may or may not happen?
Right.
Is there a chance that it can happen? Absolutely. But there's just as equal of a chance that nothing's going to happen.
Yes.
And my thing is, even if it does come to that point, we don't know all the variables yet. We don't know in what circumstances it's going to be presented. So, my thing is, you focus on today, you focus on what you can control right now. And if there's roadblocks down the road, then we have to adapt. I am a perfect example of this right now because I went
Yes.
from doing the 75 hard, hanging upside down on stripper poles, like doing sprints, and now I'm like, I got my
Dancing. I saw your dancing video. Yeah.
yeah, and then now I'm like laid up in bed with freaking ice packs on.
Ice pack.
I got an ice pack on right now. Oh, Kez says that her husband is having RNY on the 27th. Kez, I didn't know
Oh,
that. I'm so excited.
that is awesome.
Okay, if he has any questions, make sure he messages me. I'd love to help him out too. And we also have a lot of great people who are watching right now. Everyone who's watching right now who's commented has already had the surgery and
Oh,
been
that's
through it.
awesome.
And Kez, if you're interested, Jason is watching right now, and Jason is a member of Barry Nation, who has a podcast. I think it's on Spotify, and I know for sure on Instagram. And because there's not a whole lot of dudes that are out in social media talking about it, he would be a really great resource for your husband to ask questions if need be. So, Jason, I hope you don't mind. I just kind of like. So Emily was asking you, Jenna, do we have a date set yet, or are we still working on it?
So I'm still working on that. So we know that my insurance doesn't require all these rules and these crazy things, right? I really feel like, and I'm not a super religious person, but I believe in God and I pray to God and I know that He works in my life and stuff. And it's just a more validation that that happened because so I know that I need to get this surgery done by the end of the year. And I was already in July because if something happens with my insurance and God forbid the next insurance doesn't cover something, then I'm up the creek without a paddle. So my goal is like, okay, my insurance doesn't require 3 month or 6 month programs, but there's a lot of programs out there that require that, like doctors programs, like, no, you have to do this for this long. We want you to do. So the surgeon that I ended up finding, not only was he highly revered in this area, but he was the only one like in this area, like closest to me. I could have driven like an hour and 15 minutes down to Tampa and we're done that program, but I went with the one that was closest to me. And his program is exactly what I need. He's like, just talks to me, understands my mindset, understands that like I've researched this, I want this, I know I'm committed, I'm doing the things that I need to do. He's fast tracking me to in order to meet that goal, like to get me where I want to be. His program doesn't require me to lose weight. I have lost weight, but for those people out there that can't lose weight, which is why they want the surgery, it's nice to have a doctor that understands that and it's like if you could lose weight you wouldn't need me. So I love that about his program. And it doesn't have a strict 3 months for whatever,
Yeah.
in order to get it. So our goal is going to be the second week of October. So I've done everything since July 25th. I've had my psych clearance, I've had my cardio clearance, my echo, I've had my nutritional counseling. Three of those now. I've met with my PCP, got my letter of medical necessity. Those are the 5 things that he required for me to do. So my next appointment with him is on the 21st. And that's going to be when I'm going to be like, I have it all for you, Dr. Fridley. And he's going to say, perfect. They have to get prior authorization and then they can schedule me. So my goal in hopes and prayers is that the prior auth process doesn't take more than like a week or two.
Okay.
So
So, okay, everybody who's watching or listening, we're putting out the good jujus out there. We are manifesting for Jenna so that she gets the date that she wants and we get a smooth transition into the loser's bench. Oh my God, look at
so that would be October 13th is the date that I'm going for,
Okay.
which would be perfect.
Okay. So I'm going to throw it to you for a second because I'm curious. Somebody who hasn't had this yet, do you have any questions going into like having the surgery? Or is there anything that you're concerned about or you have some reservations on?
No, because I've wanted this for so long and I've researched so much and I've joined a lot of forums and groups and things like that. And I've talked to lots of people that have had it, haven't had it, or have had it and are through it and all that kind of stuff. Um, I feel like I have a really good grasp on what to expect, and I know generally what can go wrong and what I'm like. I'm gonna have possibly have gas pains after surgery and need to walk and things like that. Incision pain, healing thing. If all of the minor things that are going to happen, most likely, right?
Mhm.
Um, as well as complications that could arise. So I'm going with there's not going to be any issues. Maybe I'll have some gas pain. That's fine, but I don't really have a lot of questions. I don't really know what I don't know. I feel like I know so
Sure.
much and I'm comfortable with what I know. And sometimes when I do learn something new or somebody like posts something or says something, then I go and I kind of look into it and look it up and be like, what is this? Like, what are the stats on this happening? Or how do I fix or prevent, etc. Um,
Yes. And I will say this. Well, first and foremost, you are in very good company because Hallie just commented that October 9th is her 10-year surgiversary. So you will
Ah,
be sleevers together.
that'd
Um,
be awesome.
and you can catch Hallie's show. She was on a prior episode too, which was really fun. And two, yeah, one thing that I love about today's day and age is we have so many more resources from like bariatric to bariatric patient, like person to person. Like people like Hallie and I who had the surgery years ago, there wasn't Facebook support groups. So we would Google what we were feeling or if there was something going on.
And everything was go to the hospital, you're dying.
Yes, I answer every time. Rare forms, new forms, new. Oh my God, it was insane. And then my doctor would be like, it's normal, like calm yourself. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, so, and like I said, there's so many potential little things here and there. Like the people who are watching, one thing I was not prepared for is because you're losing so much weight so quickly,
Mhm.
your body goes into ketosis for long periods of time, which is what causes you to like lose all this weight.
Okay.
I remember waking up one day and I swear to God, it almost felt like somebody shoved a penny in my mouth and I was sucking on it.
Yeah, I remember hearing you say something like that. I'm like, I hope I don't experience that because
Now, granted, I've never sucked on a penny, so I don't know why I would associate it with that. It was like the best feeling that I can or way that I could describe it. And what it was is that it's just this metallic taste that you get in your mouth. And I thought I had cancer. I thought I had some kind of mouth cancer because
if
there
you
was
would
nothing.
Google that, they would tell you that you have a spinal fluid leak and that you need to go to the emergency room because that's what your cerebral spinal fluid tastes metallic-y. And when you taste that in the back of your throat, that's one of the signs of that. So see, I'm really blessed that I'm not a medical professional, but I'm in the medical field, so I know a lot of
See,
those things.
maybe I'm glad I didn't know you back then because cancer
I would
was
be like, yeah, you really need to look into that. You could be having a cerebral spinal fluid leak. I would have not been encouraging at that moment.
there's a reason we met when we did and not 8 years ago. Let me tell you that.
So you can support my crazy and calm me down, and not that I can encourage yours.
Now I will be able to completely and help you like calm your nerves down. Be like, no, it is not cancer today. It is not some rare disease. But not, does everybody get that? No. But I over the years I found out that it is a very common thing that happens with people. So at least you know when things do come about there's so many people out there that you can talk to that have gone through the same thing, which is why, like I said, I love that we live in a different age now where people are so much more in tune and informed directly from like other patients who've gone through it. What is
Oh
Kes?
yeah.
Oh, what is
Oh
stock
yeah.
powder?
Oh, like the little powder, like bouillon, but in a powder form, so you could put it in water and drink stock. Because that's what I'm assuming.
Oh,
Look at me, I'm like, yeah, I know what she means. Like I'm totally hurt. No, but that's
see,
what I'm
it's
guessing is that it's it's like
is it just
stock
like seeing
powder,
coconut powder?
but like
Oh, that's what I got
chicken
right
and
here.
beef flavored and things like that, like to make it like
Oh,
a soup. I'm guessing that's what I'm guessing.
oh, that makes a lot of
And
sense.
Hallie, yes, I okay. So I've always been a big girl, but I don't lack in confidence. Like I'm still out like this personality that you see, I'm like this in real life. Like if we were all sitting in a room together, I would be just chatting with y'all. We'd all be best friends. Hi, my name's Jenna. We are now best friends. That's me. So, and I'm sure that I'm sure Sherry can vouch for that too, because ever since the first time I talked to you, it's pretty much exactly like this. It doesn't change. It's
Yeah,
just
I already prepared myself. I said this episode I'm probably not going to talk very much. Jenna's going to be doing most of the talking. She's basically going to run the show
yeah,
today,
yeah.
and I'm just here for moral support and just to listen. So go ahead.
There you go. But I do take before pictures. Now, sometimes you have bad days when you're out with your girlfriends. You're like, oh, I'm around all these skinny. I use the B word lovingly to all of my girlfriends. That's like we call each other that. It's a Southern California thing too.
Yeah,
You might, yeah, it's a SoCal thing. So I'm like, I'm like, all you B words, you're all so skinny, and they're like, Jenna, shut up. And I was like, okay. And I still take the pictures, so I have them, and I have been taking, unclothed ones for myself to compare.
right.
Um, but yeah, I do. I'm like, I want to see that change too. And I have been getting a lot of that feedback from a lot of people saying that I wish I would have taken more pictures because a lot of the times it's so mental when you're losing so fast that you don't see it as much as you do when you have those pictures to look back on. So I really want to like also prepare for my mental health in
Yeah.
that sense of being like, I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. The numbers on the scale aren't moving, or I'm obsessing over this, or I'm obsessing over that. I want to look and throw that out the window. Again, don't want to worry about things that I don't need to, right? So
Yeah, and Jason brings up a good point. Measurements are really important too, because, and I know that at least when I had the
that I
surgery,
haven't done.
I tell people once you have the surgery, either throw the scale away for a while, or even though it might be tough, I weighed myself once a week, and that was it. It was like every Friday morning, same time, butt ass naked or whatever. And then, but I was consistent. And then I personally took measurements once a month because there does come a time when you might stall or that the scale's not changing. Your body's still healing. So the weight is like shifting or it's changing. So there were days or months where the scale really wouldn't move. But then I took measurements at the end of the month and I could see a huge difference. Like my waist had gotten smaller, or like right here, like the stomach, right underneath the boobs had
Mhm.
gotten smaller, which is another great way to test your success that you've been going through. It makes me sad. There's a lot of people that have the regret that they didn't take more pictures.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, like we get to a point where we see ourselves every single day. And especially in the beginning, things are happening so quickly that I feel like our brain can't like transmit it to our eyes to notice it. So a lot of times we don't see it right off the top. And then you're like, I feel like I don't see anything. And other people are like, are you crazy? Like your face is smaller, like, and I can see it. So pictures are a really great real time, yeah. Oh my
That's
God.
one thing that my best friend, so my dearest friend from when I was a child, her mom has had the surgery, the RNY, the bypass.
Mhm.
She always tells me, she's like, you have such a skinny face, because you looking from here up, I may not seem like I'm as large as I am. It's like I got the thighs and the booty and it's all evenly distributed, but in my pictures I have this little face, and she's got like, a double chin in her eyes. She's like, I just hate my face. And so I'm like, I really don't want my face to get too much skinnier, but it will.
No, I mean your face is gonna change. My
It is. I remember it did when I had lost 80 pounds before, but
yeah,
it's
like for me, my face is usually one of the first places that it'll lose.
same. Like I melt from the top down.
And I think I made a TikTok video one time, and I was like, my grandma, may she rest in peace, was the most my biggest supporter in life, and I will never forget. I had started losing weight, and I went to go have Thursday night dinners with her, and she goes, Sherry, she's like, "You look so amazing." She's like, "You know how I can tell you've lost weight?" And I was like, "What, Grandma?" And she goes, "You've really lost the bloat in your face." And I was like,
Thanks.
I didn't know that I had bloat in my face, but
I probably do. I do. I'm sure I do, but
no, you don't. You're fine. But it's just cute. But again, like that was the first place that she saw it was in the. Oh, Hallie, thanks so much for joining us.
bye, Hallie.
I love her. She's so amazing. But she also brings up a good point that the doctor can fix your stomach, but not your head. And it's so important to continuously work on yourself and your mental health as you go along. And one of the things, like, depending on how comfortable you are talking about it, is because you had a history of some mental health issues with addiction. When you decided to change your life and get over that, did you spend time to really work on what drove you to those vices?
So my addiction, it wasn't really I was my body was physically addicted to the drugs, but
Okay.
my mind wasn't. Like I started using the drugs for fun, recreation, and I continued using them because they were fun and recreation. And I would have continued, I tell people this, which is not a healthy thing, but I would continue to use drugs if it's because they were fun and recreational, but they ruin your life. Side effect.
Yeah, a little bit.
So if that wasn't a side effect, then it'd be fine. If I didn't like kill myself, if it didn't kill myself, my body, ruin my life, everything that using drugs does,
Right.
then maybe it would still be fun. But it got to a point where I started then noticing it wasn't fun. Like I need this just to function every day. And
Right.
here it is 7 years later, I haven't graduated high school. I don't have a job. Like, what am I doing? Like, epiphany woke up. That's why I decided to quit. And I didn't have any like relapsing fear or issues or like struggle with that decision like in any way. So I'm pretty good with quitting things once I determine that I want to do it. I'm good with doing it. So it's more of just my body was addicted to it. And that's what I noticed with food and being heavy too is like I have to, in that sense it's a little bit different because I have to eat to survive. If I
Right.
could just quit it, like I would love to just quit eating and not have it be any problem. But I can't. I have to eat. And my problem is then I overeat and then
Yeah,
but I
and I think you and I had already talked about this outside of the show. Is when you have certain vices like shopping or sex or drugs or smoking, you can literally quit those things the next day, never do it again for the rest of your life, and be fine. Food addiction, I think, is probably the hardest addiction there is because you can't just stop eating for the rest of your life. Like the thing that, on one hand, is killing you in a sense is you still need to rely on it to survive. And the struggle between finding the balance of having the necessity of it as fuel and eating to live instead of living to eat, I think is one of the hardest hurdles for people to overcome, which is why I'm really glad that you just have like this mentality that once you set your mind to something, I feel like you're very similar to me. Like when it came to getting the plan post surgery, I followed it to a T. I
yes.
did not stray. If it said do not have salad for 8 months or whatever it was, I did not touch it for 8 months. It said, I think, I don't, and every program is different, so don't quote me on
Right.
anything. But like my program was no caffeine for 2 to 3 months.
That's
I
gonna be so
was,
hard.
yeah, I was so terrified of breaking a stitch because I had a cup of coffee or whatever that I think I waited 8 months before I had like my first Starbucks. And even then, it was a tall, it was just one pump. I was like,
Yeah.
I was so anal about it. And I feel like to a certain extent that you would be the same way because you want it so bad and because you've struggled for so long. I think that you're really going to flourish
I
with.
really hope so. I've my whole life I've kind of not fit in anywhere in my sense, right? I have wonderful family, friends, support system. I do lots of things with people, but I have never really found like myself and what I want to do and where I want to go and things like that. I've always like given so much to others and not and
Yeah.
myself was always like a second thought. and that's even without kids. Like, imagine if I did, it'd be even worse, right? So I feel like now I finally have something, a community that I can be a part of. That's something I'm choosing to be a part of, a journey that I want to go on, things that I want to do. And it's not so much that it's going to be like an addiction or an obsession, but it's a driving force. And I feel like my entire life I've been missing like a driving force to succeed, to do the things that I want to do and be what I want to be in life, you
Yeah.
know?
No, I agree 1,000%. And what I do love now, granted, in some of the support groups, you're gonna have the food police, you're gonna have the people,
Negative Nancy's.
negative Nancy's are the ones who like, you cannot do this. Oh my God, you had chocolate, you are going to hell. And you're like, okay, like chill, lady. Like we get it. But for the most part, I think way over 90% of the people in the bariatric community in the support groups, they're not competing with you. And I feel like most people are not competing with anyone. It's just like we're everybody's cheerleaders. And
Yes,
maybe it's
I like
because we
that.
all struggled with insecurities or lack of acceptance in a lot of cases that maybe like by dealing with that for so many years we would never do that to someone else, so we're more uplifting and supportive. But that's one thing that I'm very grateful for is, yes, in every situation or group of people you might have a couple bad apples, but for the most part, like we're cheering each other on and we're giving support. And look, are there days that are going to be bad? Yeah. Are there days that are going to test you mentally? Yeah. But you're in a position now where you have like this plethora of resources that you can turn to. And all you have to do is post, like, I'm having a bad day today. And you will have all of these people like coming to your side and wrapping their virtual arms around you, like, we got this. We can do this. And having that comfort, like you said, it really spurs you on and gives you the, I don't know, like just like the motivation that like I can do this.
Yeah, virtual support as well, support from the people that you're choosing to include,
Yes.
not necessarily people that are included just because they're your family or your friends. And another thing is my neighbor, so when I moved into this house it's 2 years in February, so what, like a year and a half ago. My neighbor right next door, she's a bigger girl too. Well, she's going through the process and she's going to have surgery on November 3rd. That's her date for the sleeve. Yeah. So right now she's on a waiting list to possibly get it earlier. So it could be earlier. It's really weird because she started this process like last year, and now here I am. I might have surgery before her, but I kind of want her to have it first so then I can see what she's dealing with, you know. But we're going to have it basically together. So it's going to be really nice because we always do Friday night movie nights where we cook a meal and things. So it'll be really great to be like, have that person literally next door that I can bounce things off of, or check in on her. She checks in on me, have still fun, like, get together nights, but totally bariatric friendly because she's
Yeah.
going to be in the same boat as me. So I'm really looking forward to that too. That's
See, and like Emily loves that. And I absolutely love that too, because even if you have an amazing support system, like my husband was 100% supportive. He was Mr. Nurse. He really took care of me. And even as supportive as your partner or your friends or family can be, there's only so much they can do not having gone through it, because there's certain things that your body will go through or certain emotions that you feel that they can't relate. And you can have like the biggest support system and yet sometimes still feel kind of alone because there's nobody relatable to specifically what you're going through. And the fact that you have a neighbor, that's someone you can go on walks with and you guys
yes.
can walk together. That's someone, like, depending on how far out you're, like, okay, I've entered the constipation phase or whatever, like, brace yourself, it's going to be a wild ride. And then you can at least like have someone to share these moments and celebrate your victories together. And how fun would it be to do NSVs together for the first time and be
Right.
able to share these moments together? Like, that's such an amazing thing to be able to have in your corner too.
It's really just another, I'm going to say it, it's another thing that I feel like God's pointing me in this direction. Like, this is the path you're supposed to go down and do. Like, you got this job that you can get this surgery, and you found this great surgeon that it's going to, your neighbor's going to do it to support you. Like, Jenna, you have no excuses. Like,
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 there's
put
no,
it on a platter for you,
yeah,
So I feel like,
there's no other sign that we can give you that's like, no, it is your time right now.
and it's
Um,
funny because I never noticed it until now that I'm looking back on these things, and I'm like, wait, one, two, three, all of the, oh, I see that now. You never
that's
know.
here. I'm here for the epiphanies.
Yeah. The epiphany.
And Jason brings up a really good point. There's sympathy and empathy, and they are very different. Empathy only comes when someone has walked in your shoes, and
Yep.
it's 100% true.
Absolutely.
Unless there's only so much support you can give someone, but unless you've gone through this process yourself, um, you can't relate.
Mhm. That's in everything in life, though. Every positive and negative thing. Well, we'll just, all the negative things that people go through, sorrow and heartbreak and marriage, positive things, marriage, all of those types of things. Like, it's hard for you to, or it's hard for anybody to take advice or compassion sometimes from people when you're like, you don't really know what I'm dealing with, though, because you haven't done, so it's
Yeah, it's
nice, but it feels like sympathy.
and it's so crazy too. I remember one time, somebody was talking about something darker, and it was something that I had gone through too, and I was able to relate. But I was like, hey, like, you're not alone, because this is what I went through. And I noticed it was happening very often with different people. And a friend of mine had made a comment that, like, I was being a one-upper. And it caught me off guard. And I was like, wait, how am I one-upping? And they're like, because every time somebody has something, like, you have it too. And I was like, but here's the thing though, like, everything that I've experienced is 100% true. And then, like, over the years, in hindsight, I've been through some crazy shit in my life and stuff that I wouldn't wish on anyone. But then I was like, maybe there's a reason for it, because every time I meet someone and they're going through something, I'm like, oh wait, 2016, that was me. Like, this is what helped me or whatever. And it really makes me feel like, one, that I'm not alone because someone else is going through it too. Not that I would wish anybody, obviously, to go through it, but I do believe that things in our life definitely happen for a reason. Even if in the moment we don't understand the why, months will go by or years will go by, and then you look back and you're like, oh yeah, that kind of makes
And now
sense.
you were able to support somebody in their hard time, as somebody probably did for you, or hopefully did for you. Now
Right.
you could do that for somebody else. And the fact that somebody would say you're being a one-upper, I feel like that's more of their problem than your problem. And I hope that they didn't affect you by saying that, because that's
No, like, well, back then, when you're this is like long before surgery. There's certain,
everything affects us differently.
yeah, everything. Like, I was way more
You don't
sensitive.
like my nail polish? I'm so fat and ugly. Like,
Oh yeah, like, it's just it's funny now because I just turned 41, and you look back and some of the things that we self-deprecated on about ourselves, or the things that I remember, like, looking in the mirror and be like, God, I'm so fat. And I was like 200 pounds then. I was like a size 14. And I'm like, there was a time now where I would have gone back and killed to be a size
I
14
say that with
again.
my girlfriend all the time when we look at pictures of us. We're like, I wish I was as skinny as I was when I used to think I was fat. Like, that is, I
Yes,
want to be that girl again.
I want to be that girl again, because they're like,
Hindsight is 2020, they say.
it's true. Oh, Emily wants to be your friend. Um,
Oh,
Emily had asked
let's
earlier
be friends.
where you're from.
I was born and raised in California. So I was born in Long Beach. I grew up in Huntington Beach, but I now live in Florida, in a suburb of Tampa. So not in Tampa, but a little bit north of Tampa. And
Okay,
I
you
moved
hear
out
that,
here in
Emily? We're
2016.
planning a trip to Florida. We're
Heck
gonna
yeah, come. The
visit.
Gulf Coast is the
Let's
best
go.
coast. You don't
So,
need to go with the Pacific or the Atlantic. The Gulf, it's like swimming in bathwater. It's amazing, and it's clear.
okay,
Come on
okay.
down.
I'm used to LA. We used to be known for our beaches. I think maybe not as much
I
as
don't
this.
know what. Okay, I told you. I think I told you I never really liked California. I believe that I've said that to you, or said it to somebody recently. It's not all that great. Yeah, it's too crowded. If you're a tourist, love it. Love that for you. But to live there, not fun. And the water's dark. And it's like the Puget Sound. It's cold. It's dark. It's
We used to be known. People used to travel and pay the crazy rates here for the weather. And I feel like we don't even really have that anymore either.
oh, it's desert weather now. It's gotten really bad. Yeah, I remember when I was out here, I told my mom how hot it was out here. Like 90. Yes, humidity. It is. It can be humid, and there are some days when it's miserable and you're like, I don't even want to go outside. But those are called beach days.
Yeah.
And or AC days.
So Jason wrote in, he's from Jacksonville.
What? I've been to Jacksonville.
How far
Like
is Jacksonville from you?
like 3.5. 3.5 hours, three and a
Okay,
half
that's
hours.
doable.
Yeah.
So he just recommended a support group for you.
Florida
There's
Berry Besties. Is that on Facebook?
yeah. Okay, get on
It'll
your
be the
phone and do
fourth.
the show. You can add it later.
I know, but how will I remember?
The comments are gonna stay there.
Ah, don't everybody don't talk too much. I need that one to stay oh god, it's already moved down one.
Jenna can't function now because people are commenting. This will
Yes,
still be
ma'am.
there. After the show is over, all of the comments will be there. And then
Oh, that's
Jason,
awesome.
you can always like send him a message too. Like Jason is gonna come on the show. We just booked his episode. We had an amazing conversation yesterday. So he's 2.5 years post-op. And
That's awesome because I wanted to look for meetups and events. Like he's saying that they do meetups and events. I just downloaded Meetup because I'm like, maybe they'll have, bariatric stuff in there, but I didn't find anything. So
see, and
I was
this
looking for something that, a community that you can meet up with. That's what I want.
yeah. So my thing is I love doing this show. Like it has brought like so much joy and it gives me something to really look forward to every single week. But I still feel like there's some element that's lacking because I'm such a kinesthetic person. I love feeling the energy and being in the room and hearing like the laughter and having fun, like with somebody sitting 2 feet in front of you. So I do kind of really crave that. And one of my goals for this show, um, public service announcement to anybody who's listening, keep growing the crap out of this show so that we can like get to do some of these NSVs in the future. I'm manifesting out there.
Yes.
But I would love like to come to Florida and see you in person and do an episode in person. And I would love to do episodes on the road and like going out and doing excursions and recording in real time like NSVs with different people around the country. And I would love to like have like these meetups and like meet people in person. I was so excited because one of the guests, Marcy, who was on like I think a month or two ago, she lived like 3 hours from me. And like a couple weeks after the show, I get a text message out of the blue and she goes, "Hey, you're not going to believe this, but I'm in your neck of the woods. Would you like to meet up
Awesome.
for lunch?" I literally cleared the entire day. I said, 100%, you just tell me the time. And there was something magical that happened being able to sit in person with somebody that you've never met before, but you felt this connection to because we did the show and we become friends since. That I crave that. Like, I want to do that more often.
Yeah.
So we're manifesting being able to go on the road. Emily and I have been friends for, I don't know, I think like almost 20 years or something like that, over 16. I don't know. I can't do math right now. My back hurts. We're still icing. Um, but like, I would love to do like a bariatric cruise where we can like leave out of
Oh,
Florida.
yeah, that is so cool. That would be really cool. There is a group that did that. I remember in one of the groups that I follow, they had posted about it. But there's like a nationwide thing. I don't know, but they posted a cruise that for a bunch of bariatric patients. But when it was going or something, or where it was leaving from, I was like, no. But there is a group. There are groups that do cruises. But it would be awesome if yeah, it would be awesome actually if we could join a big giant one and then also have like the pod of
Oh yeah.
unzipped people with a bunch of other that would probably be cool. But they do that. They being they, I don't know who they are, but they do it.
My
I've seen it.
okay, so big time goal is I want to get to the point where I can plan like a yearly event, like an unzipped event, and have like and invite all of the guests who've been on the show or been a part and like or people who've been watching and supporting us. And I want to do like a formal event. And the whole purpose of Unzipped is the whole concept of unzipping and revealing like your true self and having everybody do like a formal event and look your absolute and feel your absolute best and have like fancy little snacks and goodies and have some speakers and then have music and just like create like this environment that
That
for all of us to be able to be in person. There is a cruise.
Yeah, we need that information. But I was just gonna say not Berry Nation, but like a cruise would be perfect for that too because they have
Yes.
formal nights and you can, I believe, like rent out for like your group events on cruises. You can have those types of group events as well on a cruise. So like maybe depending on how many people get together, especially if it's like a bariatric driven cruise. I don't know how it's not, that's way above my pay grade, but I think it can, happen like all in one.
Oh, it is definitely going to happen. And Jason, when you plan that, you let me know because I will be there 100%. And if I can help in any way, let me know. I don't know how.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to need those details because by then I'll be hot girl summer, so I can totally be a part of it.
Oh, yeah.
And my what I so I want to get. I'm just gonna trip all over myself. I'm so
Triple.
excited with my life that's gonna be changing. I'm getting my passport next week because that's been a
Yes.
goal to get my passport. So I'm gonna get my passport, and then I must get my scuba certification because I went on a cruise and I went scuba diving for the first time years ago at a scuba, take a class, go in the 40 feet of water. Loved it. So I want to get scuba certified so then I can cruise or go to Roatan for my 40th birthday or cruising and scuba. So that's my goal. So that's what I want to do. So cruises are right up my alley because it's going to cruise somewhere I can scuba.
Well, apparently, Emily found that there's a cruise in June of next year, a bariatric cruise that leaves from Miami.
Okay, so yeah, so that might be the one that is it like are you on Facebook looking? It's like a private Facebook group page. I got invited or accepted to it, but I think maybe it might not be that one. Maybe it is because I think it was just too soon for me to book it. I don't know because I
All
didn't
right,
know what
Kez
my
is
life was
in.
doing.
Kez is coming from Australia. We're going on a cruise, a bariatric cruise.
Yes.
Yes.
Can we
We're gonna
just
make
go to Australia and crikey and outbacky and do all that stuff?
I'm sure they don't walk
Get
around.
eat by your tarantula, your 3 foot big spiders and stuff? No? Can we do that?
Wait, okay. Wait, 3-foot spiders?
They have ginormous things that can kill you out there.
All right, Kez, I need confirmation before I ever come visit you that there are no 3-foot spiders in the vicinity of where you would be.
Crocodiles and scorpions and
I can do
snakes.
crocodiles. I'll wrestle a crocodile. That's fine.
My mom, so we have alligators here. She showed me, and I'm making eye contact with you to be serious. She showed me a video. Crocodiles can sprint.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Sprint. No,
Yeah.
no. I'll take an alligator that's just a lazy over a crocodile. Thank you, ma'am. No, thank you. Do not need no windmill size log that with teeth running at me.
I feel like so now with my back, I feel like I was a
Emily's in about.
and now I'm an alligator. We're an alligator set. Emily's not going to Australia, and I think we scared her
Your
away.
back, what? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. Actually, it's been like we can take it off now.
It's probably helping because you're laughing, and laughter is the best medicine.
Yes, I can tell you what does not help is sneezing.
Oh, that poor thing.
And it's already bad enough that anybody
I'm not laughing.
No, you can laugh. It's fine. I'm not going to laugh.
It's gonna hurt. Oh, I'm sorry.
But people already make fun of me that I literally sneeze like a little child, and people think it's like this.
Yeah.
And so I've been literally this is TMI, but this is what we do. Nobody cares. When it's that time of the month for me, right before I start the time of the month, I go into this 5-minute sneezing fit.
Oh no.
I don't know anybody else. I've never met anybody else who does it, but I will sneeze uncontrollably as if somebody took pollen and shoved it up my nose, and I will sneeze uncontrollably for 5 minutes. So last week when it was at its worst was really fun that every time I felt the sneeze coming on, I'm literally grabbing onto things for dear life and just oh, it's so brutal. Okay,
yeah, there's some things. There's some things that can kill you out there. Just a little bit.
Okay, but she hasn't seen them personally. So I'm just going to go to Kez's house. That's what we're going to do. And we're just not going to leave the house. We're just going to stay inside of her house where it's safe from 3-foot spiders or crocodiles.
No, they can't get in there. Wolf spider. Oh.
Okay. No, we need to be positive. We're being positive right now.
Yeah, we're going to go and we're going to hang out with kangaroos and wallabies and ostriches. You guys have ostriches there, right? Because I want to. They're mean.
You've met all of these how do you know how angry crocodiles and ostriches are?
Because I like nature and the animals. That's my thing. That's my jam.
Okay. Okay, I'm a born and raised Valley girl, so we don't know.
I'm telling you, I didn't blend in California.
Yeah, I know. I'm a 100% Valley girl through and through. So like I told you when I met with you, this hour is going to go by so freaking quickly.
it's not
that
over
we're
yet. Don't end it.
almost out of time. But so what I want to do is I kind of
A
want to get
2-hour special? Is that what you're saying? That's what the ending of that sentence was, a 2-hour special. What I want to do is a 2-hour
no,
special. No,
but
okay.
okay, you're going to be one of our most coming back guests. I already said because we're going to have you keep coming back and giving us updates. So as soon as you have the date, you're going to let me know. And then we'll plan it for like because you're gonna need a few weeks to recover, like for sure. And then depending on how you feel, we'll do like a little update from the hospital bed, or we'll have you like walking around outside, or we'll just have you come like a month later and give us an update. But I want to get really excited and I want to start manifesting your new realities. So besides the scuba diving,
Mhm.
is there any specific NSVs that you're most excited about?
I mean, the what I would call the basic ones, fitting into chairs without them digging into you, like chairs with arms, is a big one. Or on an airplane, not having to have a seatbelt extender or having the middle arm
Oh
being able
yeah,
to go down. That would be nice. Um, That's pretty much, yeah, fitting places, really. Going on roller coasters again. Granted, it's been so long now that I probably will vomit, but I'll go on one or two before that and
yeah.
then, space it out. Yes.
Let's space it out.
But I want to go to Disney. I've been to Disneyland. I grew up going to Disneyland, but I have yet to go to Disney World. And I want to drink around the world. I want to get shit faced and drink around the world at Epcot with my girlfriends and eat food and wine festival. And I want to go to like Avatar Land and like I want to go and see Disney World, but I can't walk around that much right
Yeah.
now. Like my knees hurt, my hips will hurt, I won't be able to do it. So I want the energy. I want to be able to do things, all the things. I want to be able to do the things that I don't even know that I want to do yet.
Yes, that's the
That's what
best.
I want to do.
That was the best. When I made my vision board this year of things, I put that stripper pole on there, and I was like, never had a desire to go on a stripper pole, like, and then like you do something that
I
you didn't.
can't do that because then I'll make a lot of money and like I'll have to make it a profession. I can't learn
Let
that.
me tell you something. I did not make a lot of money. I probably gave out a lot more refunds than I needed to, and now my back is out. So like it did. That was not an avenue that I should. And I hate to say this, but I'm coming to the realization that I think those two classes that I did might have started this whole back thing because I think my back wasn't ready for it. And like
Like
when
you
you're,
have to build up those muscles first
yeah,
to support you to be able to do
yeah.
more.
So I have
things.
this amazing picture of being on like the strings or whatever it is, the harness thing, and like with your legs. Like, it's a gorgeous picture of being, but because the rope or whatever it is was right on my tailbone, I have a feeling I probably tweaked it. And then because I've been going really ham with like doing all this crazy shit lately and sprints and like I think my body was just like, no, like you're taking a break right now, like chill out.
Like
Um,
I gave you that little pain from that other thing and you just think you can work through it, ma'am? No, thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but on that note, so before we go, do you have any questions or do you have anything that you kind of want to know since you kind of have a small team here that
I
might be
mean, not
like,
yet. I mean, I don't know yet. I
okay.
I do the bite-sized thing, like and all the I follow a lot of I'm a TikTokaholic. That's how I met you or found you. I'm like a TikTokaholic. So I got like all these recipes saved that I want to do for the pureed stage and things like that. I don't have questions at this point, but I know that I will develop them, especially after surgery, you
Oh yeah.
know. And I'm sure even if we don't do this again until a couple of weeks after, no, 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 we will do it again. But I mean,
Whoa.
like if we don't do it until like a couple of weeks after my surgery or something, I will be in contact with you. I text you every
Oh
time something changes. "Ah, I got my cardiac clearance, or I got this and that, So it's not like you're not in the know. And
yeah.
just take notes and ask questions is all I'm saying. I'm just kidding. I need to be your study for your show. Just take notes so I can remember. I have a problem remembering things. Remember? Thank God. No, see, it is gone. I'm gonna have to scroll down. I have that in the back of my head. It's like a paper on the wall saying,
You
"Look,
got it. So all of these comments that happen live on the show,
am I
you
getting
can
emails?"
no, you're not gonna get emails, but you can really go back to the show and all of the comments will be there.
Oh,
Whether it's on Facebook or on YouTube. And okay, so Emily wants you to have her Facebook info, so I will send that to you today.
yay! Stalker.
I would, you know what I would also like to do too is I would, and I haven't done it yet, but I thought about maybe starting a support group, like a Zoom support group, and it could either just be for start with Unzipped people, like people who've been on the show, or anybody who wants to join who has questions.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I think that would be great too.
You could even title it Unzipped hyphen bariatric surgery or something, so then it's like linked with your show, so then people can find this too, I have all sorts of ideas for you. Like, I'm telling you, I'm running your show. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I just think of it and think, is this a good idea? I don't know.
But okay, but here's the thing. I've literally been doing everything 100% solely on my own. And there's a lot of things I don't know and I'm learning.
I don't know anything either.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
I could just suggest that'd be as a user,
yeah,
it would be easy for me if I found if I was looking for bariatric support groups, came across yours, joined it, and then I saw, oh, that's how I found out. Because I was like, oh, she's got a podcast. I just kind of stalked you, not you, but stalked. I think it was actually Bite Size I ended up stalking, and you were on there. I was diving into what is this, rabbit holing, and I found this. So
I love it too because Bite Sized gave me a shout out months ago because he was on my show. And then I'll tell him every time he posts a new video and he gets all these new followers, I see a small influx in my followers and I'm like, hey, thanks for that. I'm still piggybacking off your shit right now. Like people are starting to
they dive in there and then they're like, oh, that's what you do. You find stuff.
Yeah. And I am so glad that I found you because you and I have become friends since our first meeting and you send me the funniest TikTok shit videos too.
I try not to overwhelm you because I overwhelm my girlfriends because there's some funny shit out there. But I'm I'm not gonna overwhelm her. But sometimes you just can't pass it up. There's some good ones.
There was one that I sent you. I forgot what it was, but I was literally dead. I'm like, this shit is. I sent it to everybody, on TikTok. I'm like, this thing is amazing. But on that note, I know that I could talk to Jenna for hours because we've done it before. We're gonna do it again. Thank you to everybody who's been watching today and giving us words of encouragement and talking to Jenna. It's been so much fun. As soon as Jenna knows her date, she's gonna let me know and we'll announce it on the show. And so that we're all excited and then we can continue following her journey. And if you have any questions for Jenna that you're just curious about or want to know more about her, because she's this burst of energy who's trying to take over my show and run everything, which is fine.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I don't really want to.
But like I said, this is not a competition. We are all supporting each other. I will support you. I will not support you replacing me.
No, I don't want that.
But I know that you're going to come back on multiple occasions and I can't wait to start doing NSVs with you live on the show. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait to hear about your neighbor's journey. There's so many things that we can update on. So for those of you who are listening later, if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, you can watch us live every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Other times around the country, I don't know. You're going to have to Google it. I don't know. But we are on Facebook at Unzipped with Sherry. You can find me on TikTok, Sherry Arcuria. There's my name right there. And we're also on YouTube with Unzipped with Sherry. So you can watch us live and tune in and comment just like everyone's been doing today. And then you can also watch the show or listen later on Spotify, iTunes. I think we're on iHeartRadio. We're on all these different podcasts.
All the things.
We're everywhere we can be. We are literally going to inundate you with Unzipped with Sherry on all platforms down the road. If you want to be a guest on a future episode, you can reach out to me at info@sherryarcuria.com. And at sherryarcuria.com, you can join my blog. You can see past episodes as well. You can get a copy of my book Unzipped, shameless plug, don't care, my show.
Absolutely.
You can get a signed copy on there. And then, so Jenna, thank you so much for being on the show today. You were such a ball of energy and a delight. You're definitely coming back. Yay. And on that note, we will see you guys next week.